So we're SpunOut.ie here talking to Megan Cleary. Megan is an international volunteer with the Galway Simon community, and we're just going to see what she has to say. So Megan, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Simon, and just give us the whole lot pretty much?
Sure.
Yeah.
My name is Megan Cleary, and I'm a full-time volunteer with an organization called Simon Community. And basically what a full-time volunteer is, you live here for about a year. It varies depending on the full-time volunteer. So you live here and you work in different projects with the homeless, whether it be service users that come to the day center or residents that live in more permanent projects. And I work in two projects. They're both under the title of Men's High Support. And what that is it's two homes that are kind of more of a permanent residence for 14 service users. The age ranges between about late 40s to 70s, and they have been homeless pretty much all of their lives. And Men's High Support, our projects, are basically full-term permanent residences for them. And as a volunteer, basically my jobs are, I always work with staff, and my jobs are kind of to talk to the residents, kind of develop a relationship with them, and a trusting relationship. So that way you can talk to them about their problems and help them through to find solutions. Just let them know that we're there for them and that they have somebody to talk to. Hence the support of Men's High Support.
Very good. And how have you found your experience volunteering so far?
I love it. I have no prior experience to volunteering whatsoever. I moved here from the States, and I had no idea what to expect. And they were really good about giving me an introduction, and I always work with staff, and they train you very well so you know what to do, and I love it. I love the lads that I work with. They're very great, and they're very understanding because they're used to having full-time volunteers around. So mistakes happen, and if you make mistakes, they're totally understandable, and they're just there, and you learn so much from them. It's amazing to hear their stories, and it gives you so much life experience. I had no idea what I was in store for, and I've learned so much. And I've only been here for 4 months so far, and I've learned a vast amount of knowledge. It's unbelievable, really, and it's such a great opportunity. I'm just so lucky to be able to be a full-time volunteer and to be a part of the organization, really.
That's cool. And what made you decide you wanted to be volunteering anyway?
The way I got into being a full-time volunteer is actually a very interesting and random story. I was beginning to start my final year in college, and I was trying to figure out what to do next. I knew I wanted to take a year off before getting my master's, but I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. And my sister, who had been traveling around Europe, when she was in Ireland, she met a few full-time volunteers, and basically I just Googled Simon Community and read about it on their website, and I was very interested because it seemed like a great opportunity to do something good and to get involved with homelessness. And so I just applied online and heard back from them, did a couple online web interviews, and here I am. The moving here has been interesting. There have been some things that have surprised me since I moved here. For instance, working with my residents, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what to expect. And I was surprised at how easy and how helpful staff was, and how really easy it is to talk to my residents and to learn about homelessness and to just ask them anything. And they're very understanding, and they're just down to earth, and they're just like us. Basically, it's just sometimes people, I guess, don't give them the time of day. For instance, in the States, maybe, I'm from around the Chicago area, and we have a lot of homelessness as well. And you see a lot of homeless people on the streets, a lot of people don't even acknowledge them. And a lot of people get used to the mentality of kind of just ignoring them, like they're not there. And getting involved with Simon and becoming a full-time volunteer, it makes you realize what you've done before in the past. And these people are just human, just like you. And, I mean, it can happen to anybody. And just hearing their stories, it's unbelievable, really. So that was very surprising to me. It really opened my eyes. As far as the issue of homelessness goes, I feel it's important to talk about that as well, because back living in the States, I really didn't give it as much thought as I know I should, and as I feel everybody really should. I kind of just avoided it or ignored it. And it's very, very real for me now that I am a full-time volunteer, because you deal with it every day. And it's amazing, because I work with residents that you should hear their stories, and it can happen to anybody. And to hear the stories of my residents, it's unbelievable. And especially in today's economic climate, you never know what can happen, and it's happening to most people. And just certain circumstances can happen to people, and they end up on the streets. And I've heard a lot of stories from my residents, and one thing I find very common between all of them is that how it makes you feel being homeless. You're ignored, basically, by many people. You're not acknowledged, for instance, when they're on the street. Just even acknowledging them and saying hello can make a huge difference. And I've learned that full-time volunteers, they really enjoy them, because they're just acknowledging them, and they're treating them like human beings, which they are. They're just like you and me, and it could be me or you that ends up on the street. And just by having somebody there to be there to just talk to or offer a cup of tea, it makes a huge difference. And we do things also. We do some very cool things with our residents. In an average day, I basically would go to work at a project with staff, and we prepare dinner for everyone. I work in the 2 men's high support projects, so each project we have 7 residents in. So me and staff prepare meals for them. And after dinner, we have cups of tea and chat. We'll go to the market, we'll go for walks, we'll go to the cinema, we'll go for coffee. Just doing regular things, I mean, can you imagine being homeless on the street? I mean, how would you have the confidence to go get a cup of coffee, things like that? It's just great to have the support, and I find that just treating them like the human beings that they are and giving them the respect that they deserve is unbelievably important. Another thing I would really suggest to people our age who are even thinking about it, a lot of times you'll think about it and then you'll kind of think, oh no, there's nothing I can do. What can I do to help such a great need? I wouldn't make any type of contribution. But you would be surprised at how much helping in the homeless sector or social work sector, how much you can actually do and how much you can help, even if it's just with a few residents or a few of the homeless or service users for your organization. It's unbelievable the difference you can make, and it's so easy to get into it. Just go online and just Google your area. You can, with a click of a mouse, you can find organizations you can help with. And I mean, look at me, I just applied online and now I'm here in Ireland being a full-time volunteer. So it's so easy to get into, and it's so rewarding, and 100% I would suggest it to anyone. Get out and do it, because it's amazing.